Welcome to the 10th episode of our first series of the Sew Ab Fab podcast. I'm Ali and I run Bobbin Sew School, and my co-host is Caroline of the sewing business Sew Ab Fab. Hi there, Caroline.
Hi, Ali. Hello, everybody. So in our podcast, we introduce you to guests that are integral to home sewing or have connections to the sewing industry. Many of our guests have small to medium-sized sewing-related businesses and or provide necessary resources and products to help you as sewers.
So, did you watch the final of the Sewing Bee? It's over now.
I did. I'm so sad it's over, but we're not going to give anything away.
No,
we're just going to chat about the series as a whole.
Yes.
So yeah, I've loved this series.
So have I. I really have. I've liked it. Probably one of the best, actually.
I think so. I think they've had some great challenges, both pattern challenges and garment. I think the reason I probably liked it is they've made garments that actually people can replicate at home and can be worn.
Definitely. So for any of our overseas listeners, the Sewing Bee, if you've never seen it, try and catch it. It's called the Great British Sewing Bee, and we are in series, is it 7 or 8 have they just had?
I'm not sure.
I think it's 7, 8 maybe. But no, it's great, and the contestants have done really well, I have to say. I think they're all novice sewers. They've not a background in dressmaking or anything, and they come at it all guns blazing, very inspired, some of them.
Totally. I mean, the talent this year has been phenomenal. I mean, they could definitely outsew me. I take my hats off to them. I really do. I wouldn't like to go up against any of them.
I know. And what I love is that Instagram feed is full the next day with all of the different fabrics and patterns.
Yeah, and the chat and the general buzz that around the garments that are being made this year. And actually some of the themes, I mean, we had the recycling theme, recycle and upcycle and everything else. It was a great theme, especially at the moment when pollution and environmental things are in the forefront, and it should be. So I think it's been a great series, and I will miss it on a Wednesday night.
So will I. So which was your favorite challenge? Which was the one that stood out to you? I know which one stood out to me, but which one stood out to you?
I haven't thought about that, Ali. I did like the Oxford bag trousers. I don't know. I mean, they've had some amazing garments that they've had to make. So I mean, there's been evening wear, there's been there was the dresses in week 1, and I don't know, what's yours?
Well, same week, actually. I have to say, I was just thinking back. I mean, there were 2 that stood out to me, but the one that I really loved was the parachutes. The upcycle from parachutes. That's amazing. And
all that fabric. Who'd know? Who'd have known how much fabric was in a parachute?
I know. I mean, I think I loved it. I mean, I didn't like all of the. Didn't like all of them, but I loved the one that won. It was amazing. And the other challenge that really stood out was the children's raincoats. I thought that was really lovely. I thought that was a really nice one.
Very different. Working with tricky fabric.
And I love seeing the way the contestants sort of like talk with the children, and I think it comes across. It's really lovely. It's a nice sort of, and the kids are so excited by it all, which is lovely. And the kids outside of the Sewing Bee are all excited by it as well. I think that children really enjoy it, the program itself.
I think they do. I mean, we have firsthand knowledge of kids that have watched the Sewing Bee in a couple of our classes, and the chit chat and the oohing and the ahhing and everything else. So I think it inspires all ages, and actually it's a program that generations can watch together.
Oh, totally.
Yes. And and go away and try and create something, or it's an inspirational program, I think, personally.
It is. I agree. So what is on your sewing table this week?
Not very much.
Oh.
I have been sewing frantically, trying to get the samples done for the kits. We've got a photo shoot so coming up, so all they have to be done. I have a list as long as my arm of the bits and pieces I'd like to make for me, but they don't. I did make my mum a sun hat. Yeah, that was something that I've never ever done before. I'd love to make those paper bag trousers. Not paper bags, sorry, we've done that. Yes. We've made those, the Oxford bag trousers. What about you? What's on your list?
So I have definitely got to make myself I'm talking about myself now. I've definitely got to make myself a dress, because I've got a few things coming up, so I need a bit of a wardrobe. I have indulged. I have broken my fabric diet this week. I know. Good for you. Good for you. I don't buy any fabric from me at the moment, and it's heartbreaking. Well, I've actually been really good at getting through my stash fabric. So yeah, I should have just carried on. It's a bit like you've lost a few pounds and then you just suddenly go and eat more, don't you? And then you put them on again. So
but this is my problem, Ali. I don't fit into my clothes. It's like, I pull them out of the wardrobe and think I wear that, and I'm like, oh, that's a bit uncomfortable.
I know. Isn't it horrible when the sun comes out and you put everything on and you go, oh no.
Yeah, you can't let it down. That just doesn't look right. So no, I'm pleased you've got some fabric. I have to wait and see what you make.
No, I am. I'm sort of like I'm toying between a dress or a jumpsuit.
Ooh, Ali.
I know. So I was thinking along it was inspired by the Oxford bags, and I thought then you could go, make a top that goes with. So
there is a nice jumpsuit out there with a bottom like that.
Yes, there is
already.
Yes, the name evades me. What is it?
No, I know, but I think I've saved it. So I'll have to go through my Instagram. What's our memory like, Ali? I can't remember.
I know. Oh, don't ask me. I can't hardly remember my name sometimes.
I do have another indigo dress. This poor indigo dress has been in my pile since this time last year, but with the extra tier on the bottom. And I've got a friend's 50th. You were saying you've got events coming up, and it has to be made. So in the next week, it has to be done. I'll grab some hours from somewhere. And
I know, that's it. It's finding the hours, isn't it? I think we're all busy, and finding those hours is really hard, but I think it's actually really important even for us when we're working in the industry. Take some hours out for ourselves. It's not
if it rains. If it rains, we won't be watering the allotment, Ali.
I know, that's true. That's true. Fingers crossed.
I don't know about you, but my arms have got longer with all the watering cans.
I know. And I've got stinging nettles. I can feel them tingling at the back of my ankles today, because I got caught on my calves, and they itch for a long time. They do.
I was looking around for a dock leaf, and then I was like, oh, I don't know what a dock leaf looked like.
Gosh.
They're not picking anything that I don't know.
Well, you've obviously weeded really well.
It wasn't on my plot. You see, I was naughty. I parked too close to someone else's pot, so their stinging nettles got me.
That's tough. Well, they do say where there are stinging nettles, there are docks. So
I know, but I didn't want to rummage on their plot anymore.
There you are, rubbing a bit of spinach on your leg. I mean, that's a bit weird.
Oh dear. So yes, stinging nettles are the bane of my life at the moment, so I know how you feel.
I know. Well, we've got bindweed, and that's I hate bindweed.
And I just have to give you a quick chicken update. She's still broody. She's
not. Oh my goodness.
I tell you, Ali, you can have her back.
Honestly, that's unbelievable. Goodness me.
She and the other two, if she comes out now, they pick on her. So for a quiet life, I think she stays in there, but she is still extremely broody. She lasts about 20 minutes.
Oh, well, at least she's coming out.
She's forced out, Ali.
Yeah, well,
I was going to say, I give her the ninja roll, and my poor mum can't do the ninja roll, so she tips the coop up. She slides her out. She said yesterday, I came home from work, and she said, I shut her out of the nesting box. That will cure her. I said, okay, Mum. So we went up there to water, and she was sat in the other bit of the coop going, I mean, yeah, you've really cured her, Mum. I opened the nesting box. She shut in. She's like, that's it. She settled all for the night, and she was still down there today.
Yes. Oh, well, we've got chicks everywhere at home. We've got David's been incubating eggs, not personally, but in the incubator. And so we've got lots of little fluffies all over, various ages. And
wow. And how are the sheep?
The sheep are absolutely lovely. They've forgiven us slightly
from shawning them.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah, they didn't like being shorn. They ignored us for a few days. They were like, put their noses in the air. What have you done to us? But
we feel funny.
yes, yeah. No, they're fine. So I found a new treat that they actually love, which is good because it was biscuits before. Ginger nuts favorite. But they do like a pear, so that's quite good. I mean, a healthy.
That's probably better for them.
Well, I know it's a healthy snack, isn't it? But it took a long. I've tried everything. It's a bit like children. You give them sweets, and that's it. They don't like anything healthy. It's the same with the lambs.
So naughty. Oh dear.
It's good because if I want to get them, all I have to do is shake a packet. Well, I don't shake a packet of biscuits. Their favorites are they're a wrapped biscuit in a silver foil, and not silver foil. They're not Kit Kats.
But I know what
I'm not giving them Kit Kats. They're like these Oaty biscuits in a silver packet where you only have to crinkle the packet, they come running, so you can get hold of them if they're in.
If there's any trouble.
Yeah, so no, it's all good. So have you had any interesting little sewing room tales to part with this week, or have you had a quiet?
No, we've had classes this week. I think so we have beginners and improvers, so lovely. Like a master class, so the skills class that we do. Lovely. So so it's nice just seeing the confidence build,
definitely
as they go through the day. So no funny tales. How about you?
No funny tales. We've had some lovely classes, so back into full swing with the Pay As You Sew, which is a nice class. Love those classes because everybody brings something so different, and it was nice to welcome Meg back to do a free motion class, and also little girls sundress, which is nice. I love shirring elastic, don't you? I love shirring elastic.
No, I haven't got the knack.
If you not, you really have to get that tension on that bobbin wind. You really do. But I love the effect it gives. And
I think your little sundresses, they're so pretty.
They are so pretty.
So pretty. Yeah, I really do. I do not, Ali. I haven't done it. I think that's the problem.
Have you not?
No.
Oh, okay. I'm going to have to give you a masterclass over Zoom.
Yeah, I think so.
But isn't it funny how, I feel so sorry for all the older girls this year with their proms sort of being held back or not happening. And
I know, another year. Another year, no proms for them, or scaled down proms.
Absolutely. It's really shown, because I often get a lot of alterations for prom dresses, and I've only had a handful this year. So it's
very hard. I know Sian, our next guest, was very, very busy with prom dresses, but whether now that they're not happening, whether it's calmed down for her or not.
Yes.
So I think it's time we introduce our guest.
We are really excited to be interviewing Sian of Darn Knit in Oakham. So unfortunately, as I live in a different part of the country, I've not had the pleasure of coming to Darn Knit, Sian. But Caroline assures me that when you step into Darn Knit, you're entering a world full of vibrant colour, texture and cheer. And she says it's like entering Aladdin's cave. But full of wool and haberdashery with a secret lair out the back where all your magic happens. So can you explain to us what that magic is?
Magic is clothing alterations. So we do lots of sewing and all sorts of things. It's like creating magic.
Wow. Well, clothing alterations is a very varied and often demanding job. Can you tell us how you first got involved in this side of the sewing industry?
So I took over this business that was originally a clothing alterations business about 3 years ago now, I think.
Well done.
And I mean, before that I did wedding dresses, so it was the same sort of thing, but just I did a change from wedding dresses to normal clothes, so that's kind of how it happened. But I've always sewed. So
excellent. So did you undergo formal training in garment construction, or did you learn as a child, or were you an apprentice on the job, or how did it come about?
So I went to university and did fashion design, and I did textiles at A level as well, and GCSE as well. I've always been interested because my mum taught me from a young age, but yeah, my training mainly comes from my university degree, and then I came out of that and went into sort of wedding dresses and stuff, so I learned a lot of different things from there as well. So I've got a varied skill set.
I think you have to. Have to, especially as a business owner as well. It's
fun, isn't it? You have many hats as a business owner.
Oh, totally.
I know from experience that you will have all sorts of things to repair and alter. Do you find yourself constantly being challenged? Are you learning new skills all the time?
Oh, definitely. You learn every day because no two items are made the same, really. Like, it's the same with wedding dresses as well, and just jackets and things like that. They're always made completely different, and so you could think that shortening the sleeves on one jacket is exactly the same as another, but it's not. And sometimes you sit there just really stumped, and it takes you a while to do it, even though usually you could do it like that. But yeah, you're learning pretty much every day.
Yeah, and also with fast fashion, are you finding the quality of the garments is getting poorer, or do you think that there's a change with people buying better quality now and more sustainable?
I mean, I haven't really noticed much of a difference. The quality varies because even some designer stuff is made cheaper.
Yeah,
it's made in exactly the same factory as high street stuff.
No, totally.
Yeah. I just think people need to be educated a bit more, don't they?
Oh, definitely. That's what I'm trying to do with what I do as well.
Yeah, and me, you know, I think with us, that's something that we're trying to achieve, is that sustainability and to make people realize what goes into garment construction, the amount of work that's involved.
When you are allowed to do alterations, please could you describe your normal working day for us?
I wouldn't say there is a normal day. No. So I'd usually get into the shop, start up all the machines, turn the iron on, you know, and then sort of set up the shop. And if I've got something that I need to finish, I'll finish that off quickly before opening the shop. But usually within a day, I tend to have trousers shortening for definite. That's probably the thing we do the most. There's usually some jacket sleeves to shorten, maybe a zip to replace in a jacket. Zips to replace in trousers is quite common as well, and taking in or letting out men's trousers is another common one. Yeah, that tends to be my day. There's no set amount of things we get done in a day, just as much as we can.
Power through.
Power through.
Do you set aside for fittings, or do people just plow on in?
Yeah, people just plow on in. So, you know, some days I can have so many fittings and won't get any sewing done, and then some days I'll have no fittings and I'll get loads of sewing done. So it's it's different every day, which is fine by me. But
well, it's varied, isn't it?
Yeah, keeps it interesting.
I imagine Christmas and proms are your busiest times of year.
Yeah, they are, definitely. Prom dresses, I'd usually get about 60 or more.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And then Christmas and summer holidays, actually, because you get a lot of people that when they're getting ready to go on their summer holidays, they'll bring in bits, you know, so that they've got it to take away on holiday. So this last year has been really sad. None of those things. It's been quiet, but yeah.
Oh, it might all just suddenly change, and we'll wish we had said that. So Sian, we both know from experience that alterations are thought of as quick and easy tasks that can be done in 5 minutes, and the amount of times that people say, oh, it's only a 5-minute job to me, it's just when reality they're often complex, time consuming, and sometimes need rebuilding. Do you find yourselves having to educate your customers in what it takes to repair or alter garments, and therefore justifying what you're charging for your time and skilled and educated labor?
All the time.
No.
I will be honest, all the time. I have there are some customers that I don't have to justify it, but very often you still have to justify it a lot, because people still deem sewers as well, cheap. They don't think of us as skilled.
No,
they don't think of us as trained, not like a mechanic, but really it is like a mechanic.
it is.
You know, we've all done training, just like being a mechanic or a plumber.
Totally.
But yeah, sometimes you have to really break it down to show customers how much work it is you have to do, because they don't think about the unpicking side of things. That takes a lot of time, and you have to include that in your price, because that takes time. And then, you know, any, like, I don't know, I'm trying to think what else. But yeah, you have to build in a lot of things. Pardon?
Fitting time.
Oh yeah, fitting time as well. Yeah, I don't charge for fittings, whereas I know bridal people do, because that can take up to an hour. But yeah, we don't charge for fittings, but we've got to absolve that into the price somehow. So
yeah, you've got to pay your rent at the end of the day.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, for them to have you year after year, the cost has got to equate that, really. And it's hard for people, as you say, it is very hard for people to see. And you don't want to be rude, and you don't want to say, well, if it's a 5-minute job, you do it.
You want to say that.
I mean, this is the thing. I think I often say I think I'd be better off in hairdressing. You know, we've trained, we keep educating ourselves, yet people will be prepared to pay for a lot of money for a half-hour haircut, but they wouldn't be prepared to pay the same for a trouser hem that's probably going to take a similar time for a very simple haircut, you know.
Yeah, it's really true. I've been trying to do lots of sort of like videos and reels and things from my social media to try and show people the amount of work that goes into alterations, in a hope that it will educate people eventually. So that's my kind of aim, so that people kind of understand.
Yeah, I think that we're seen, I think as generally, I think seamstresses are seen as women that stay at home and we just do it for pin money, when actually we're doing it for profession, really. And it's important to understand that.
Definitely.
So we know you have a great team of people that work with you, and I know due to COVID you've had to stop your alterations. How have you had to adapt over the past year to keep your emporium going?
I had to build a website because I didn't have a website, so I had to do that.
Yes.
I could do click and collect with the yarn and everything, which was slow going. I would say it probably took all of last year for people to get the fact that it was online. This year it picked up, people bought a bit more online, but it just takes a long time to get people used to the new things.
Yes.
But I posted on social media a lot more. I tried to do videos. I feel like I've completely changed everything, because you have to adapt.
You feel like, as you said earlier, you wear many hats, and you feel like you're juggling it all the time just to make sure. It's like, I never ever thought I'd be editing videos, never. And you're ahead of us, Sian, because you do reels, wouldn't even know where to start.
And my reels aren't even that fancy, they're just very quick. I say fairly quick. But
I loved you did some invisible mending, and I was like, how has she done that? On a reel.
You have two parts to Darn It and Knit that you quite clearly love: the wool and haberdashery and the alterations. Is it easy to manage both separately, or do they each support each other?
I have to work it so that they support each other. I mean, the alterations is the bit that makes a bit more money, because you can't, you know, selling a ball of wool for about £2-3, it doesn't really make much money.
No.
Way the alteration supports the yarn, which is why I think this year has been so hard, because I've not been doing the alterations, so the money coming in from the yarn is really very small. But yeah, it is almost like two different businesses, and I try to keep them joined, but it's very hard to advertise both. You have to really keep thinking, oh, I've not done anything with my clothing alterations recently, as in like on social media, or posted about it or something like that, or spoken about it, especially with me having to be online at the minute. I have to really make sure that I keep doing a bit of both, and sometimes I get very bogged down in the knitting and I get very excited by the knitting that I forget to post about the other things that I do, because they just seem like day to day. I do it every day. So I try to combine the two, but it can be very hard.
So you've owned the business now for 3 years. So how do you find running the business on the high street? How do you find running sewing related business on the high street? That it's really.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy it. I love it. I would never change it for the world. And even though it's been hard this year, I wouldn't want to give it up at all. I would rather work here doing sewing than work for another person doing sewing. Because I've worked for a wedding dress designer before, and it's so much better to work for yourself. You feel more valued, I think, in that sense. But yes, having a shop on the high street is hard. Again, especially as it is at the moment with coronavirus and everything, it takes a lot of the joy out of having a shop, because you don't get to chat to people as much, because you've got to be conscious about how many people are stood outside waiting to come in. But that's one thing I love about having a shop, is that you can talk to people, and you get to meet people from all different walks of life, and you get to work on so many different things. Like I can work on a really expensive designer dress that I can't afford to own, but it's amazing that it sits there in my shop, and I'm like,
yeah, I've got one of those hung up at the moment. It's very exciting.
I haven't had one in a while yet, but yeah.
Well, mine's been here since this time whenever July, when did we go into lockdown? So it was July. It was a long time. In fact she sent me a message saying, oh, I better come and collect my dress one day. I said, yes, I think you ought to. So it's been good she hasn't had to look at it to think about where she's going to wear it.
yeah
So Sian, where do you see Darnit in the future? Do you have dreams and hopes?
Oh, definitely. Eventually I'd like to have a bigger shop, and I'd like to be able to do like workshops and things like that. I do some workshops online, and I'm hoping that when COVID allows, I can do some in the coffee shop across the road. But until then, I'd eventually like to have a bigger premises, so that I could have workshops on my premises for sewing and knitting and crocheting, that kind of thing. And I'd love to have fabric as well. That would be lovely. I'd love to sell fabric.
Oh, lovely.
I know you have probably worked with many of your customers for years. Do you feel there is still a real sense of community on the high street?
I would say so, yeah. There's definitely a sense of community among us shops. Like, we all tend to talk to each other and rally each other along, and we all support each other. And my loyal customers, they're very supportive. I think it's going to be different when we come out of coronavirus, because I think maybe more people will shop on the high street a bit more.
I hope so.
I really hope so, yeah. And I'm hoping it'll change, but because we've been close for so long, it's so hard to know what anything's going to be like.
Yeah.
Do you feel that this past year has changed people's perception of sewing and the sewing industry?
Yes and no. Maybe online, younger people maybe understand it a bit more. I don't know about where we are here. I still don't know whether they understand it a bit more here. I still get customers that query my prices and how long things take. But I think it's more talked about now. So I think it will eventually, it just takes a long time to make change, doesn't it? But I think more people might start thinking about it. I do have some customers that bring me things that say, I don't want to throw it away, so I would rather fix it, which is really, really good. But it's few and far between. But I think I'm hoping it will get better. I'm hoping people will think about it a bit more.
Yeah. So we both find it really hard to switch off from our businesses when it's time to relax. But is there something else that you love to do to help you relax? Is there something that you have as a pastime?
Knitting and crocheting.
Oh, yay!
Honestly, if we didn't have lockdown, I probably wouldn't have picked up my knitting again. And now I've picked up since last year. I'm addicted to it again. And actually, I'm sort of sad that I'm going to go back to normal work times, where I might be at work till like 8 o'clock at night and I won't be able to knit in the evening nicely. But that's what keeps me sane.
Lovely. And are you knitting anything wonderful at the moment?
Oh, I've got so many projects on the go. I've got a bright, colourful jumper. I've got some socks that are leopard print. I've just finished socks for my sister's birthday. Yeah, I like to have different projects for my different moves.
Lovely. And do you sew for yourself?
I used to. I haven't recently. I keep buying patterns though, and I keep buying fabric. It doesn't stop me. But yeah, one day I will.
Good.
At the minute, I just don't. I haven't got the time. When you've been sewing all day at work, it's hard to come back at the end of the day to want to sew for yourself.
I agree.
We both find that.
Yeah. And in fact, if you looked through my wardrobe, it's really sad because I won't buy anything because I think I should make it, but I don't get around to making it. So I wear the same old stuff over and over and over.
And both Ali and I are always amazed that, we teach people and they go off and they flourish and they're then telling you what they've made and you see it on Instagram and everything else. And they've got these beautiful wardrobes and we're like,
No, not quite. We're not jealous of them. We're just disappointed. We're disappointed in ourselves.
Yeah, I'm the same with knitting and crochet as well, though, because I get all these customers that knit all these things, and I just can't knit quick enough. I have all these ideas. It's the same with sewing. You have all these ideas, but you just don't have the time to do it. Yeah.
No. Thank you for taking the time out to chat to us and our listeners today, Sian. It's really appreciated.
Absolutely. It's been lovely chatting to you, Sian, and very best wishes for the future of your business. And I hope you expand and have a wonderful time. And I hope that this summer, as we've gone out of the lockdown and everything, helps to, bring more and more custom your way.
I hope so. Thank you.
Yeah, excellent.
Really
well, thank you. It's been good fun. Thank you, Sian.
Thanks.
Wow, that was a great interview. Listening to Sian and all her alteration challenges and what it takes to run that business was very insightful.
It was. She's a busy girl, and and sometimes alteration, they do take up a lot of your creative time. So, good on her for really forging ahead with them. Actually, I think it's a great thing. We need people like Sian. We need lots of people like Sian, and I think it's
very talented.
It's a shame that there aren't more people to do these things. Hopefully it's not a dying trade. Let's hope it carries on for many years. So Caroline, can you give us a little insight into who our next guest will be?
Yep, our next guest is someone that both Ali and I have worked with. We're going to be introducing you to Di. Now, Di has lived and worked all over the world. She started to sew in her home country of South Africa, and from there she has worked in Europe and the States. She's helped various charities. It's very interesting, the work she's done. She is a fantastic artist, both on paper and on fabric, and has a real passion also for designing lingerie.
She does, and I love her work. I think she is an artist. She's definitely an artist through and through.
Very much so.
Very much. She throws that into her sewing, and I think that's absolutely, and some of her work is stunning. So I'm looking forward to chatting to her, because she has had a very interesting life, really.
Very interesting
places she's lived, and she is a great one for sort of like, just getting on with moving. I think she's brilliant.
She's got it down to a fine art.
Yes.
But what she is good at is she manages to, in all her classes, pass on her love and enthusiasm of her craft, and actually all the skills she's gathered from all over the world. She's very giving with her time.
Definitely.
And she will do anything to make that class a wonderful experience. And she took that to various charities and has worked for prisons, for those less fortunate than ourselves. She's educated young women on how to sew and to look after themselves. So it's a great interview.
Anyway, if you have enjoyed our episode of this podcast, please do subscribe and follow us. You can do so by following the links on the Podbean app or on Apple, we'd love some likes. We'd love some likes on our podcast.
Yeah, we would.
And also we are coming towards the end of this this series. We've only got a couple more after, well, 3 more, I think. So we're looking for a few more people to maybe share their stories and skills and ideas, and we have got some lovely people lined up to interview, but it would always be nice to have a few more, so do keep us in mind. You can find more details about us and the links to this show at www.soabfabpodcast.podbean.com, and there you will find our website links and social media feeds. We'd love a few likes and we'd love to hear from you. So keep in touch, and in the meantime, happy sewing, everybody.
Happy sewing.